The wedding venue costs $2,000 each, my mom said. If you can't pay, find another place to sit. I agreed with a smile. What I did next destroyed her perfect wedding plans. My sister Sophia's wedding was supposed to be the social event of the year, at least according to my mother. For 18 months, she'd been planning what she called the wedding of the century, with an obsessiveness that bordered on disturbing. Every detail had to be perfect. Every element had to scream luxury and sophistication. I should have known something was wrong from the beginning. The first red flag was when Mom announced she was handling everything for Sophia's wedding. Not helping, not assisting, handling. Sophia, who was normally very particular about her preferences, seemed oddly passive about the whole thing. Mom knows what she's doing, Sophia would say whenever I asked about details. She has such good taste. The second red flag was the venue selection. Mom had chosen Willowbrook Estate, the most expensive wedding venue in the state. When I looked it up online, I nearly choked on my coffee. The base rental fee was $50,000 for a Saturday evening in June. Isn't that a bit excessive? I asked during one of our family planning meetings. Nothing is too good for my daughter, Mom replied, not looking up from her color-coordinated planning binders. This is a once-in-a-lifetime event. But the biggest red flag came 6 months before the wedding, during what Mom called our final financial meeting. She had summoned the entire family to her house. Me, my husband Ryan, my brother Tyler and his wife Madison, Sophia and her fiancé Andrew, even our elderly Aunt Caroline, who lived on a fixed income. Mom stood at the head of her dining room table like she was conducting a board meeting, wearing a cream-colored blazer and her most serious expression. As you all know, she began, Sophia's wedding is going to be spectacular. We've spared no expense to make this the perfect day. She opened her leather portfolio and pulled out printed invoices. The venue rental for Willowbrook Estate is $50,000. The catering is $30,000. Flowers are $15,000. Photography is $8,000, the band is $12,000, decorations and linens are $10,000, and miscellaneous expenses bring our total to $135,000. I felt my stomach drop. That was more than Ryan and I made in 2 years combined. Now, Mom continued, Sophia and Andrew are young and just starting out. They can't possibly afford this on their own. So I've calculated that with 7 contributing family units, each family's share comes to exactly $19,285. The room went silent. Aunt Caroline actually gasped. $19,000? Tyler sputtered. Mom, that's insane. It's not insane. It's what quality costs. Mom replied calmly. I've rounded it down to an even $19,000 per family unit to make it easier. But Mom, I said carefully, some of us don't have that kind of money just sitting around. That's when her expression changed. The warm, loving mother mask slipped away, replaced by something cold and calculating. Well, she said, then I suppose some of you will need to make some sacrifices. Take out loans, sell some assets, dip into your retirement funds. This is family. This is what family does for each other. And if we can't? Madison asked quietly. Mom's smile was sharp as a knife. Then I suppose you'll have to find another place to sit that day. The meeting ended with an uncomfortable silence and promises to think about it, but over the next few weeks it became clear that Mom wasn't bluffing. She started sending monthly invoices to each family member, complete with payment schedules and late fees. When Tyler tried to negotiate a lower amount, she told him his family might not fit at the main reception tables anyway. When Aunt Caroline tearfully explained that her entire monthly Social Security check was only $1,200, Mom suggested she could contribute in other ways, like not attending the ceremony. It was cruel, calculated, and completely unlike the mother I thought I knew. But the breaking point came during what I now think of as the venue meeting. 3 months before the wedding, Mom called another family meeting. This time, her tone was even more demanding. I've been reviewing the costs, she announced, and there have been some adjustments. She pulled out new invoices and my blood pressure spiked just looking at them. The venue rental has increased to $65,000 due to additional services Sophia requested. Catering is now $45,000 because we're upgrading to the premium menu. The total wedding cost is now $180,000. That means each family's contribution is now $25,714. She continued, I'm rounding it up to an even $26,000 to cover any unexpected expenses. $26,000? I said, my voice higher than I intended. Mom, that's more than some people's annual salary. Quality costs money, dear. If you can't afford to contribute to your sister's happiness, then perhaps... Perhaps what? I interrupted. She looked me straight in the eye. Perhaps you should find another place to sit that day. That night I couldn't sleep. Something about this whole situation felt wrong beyond just the money. Ryan and I had been married for 8 years, and our wedding had cost $12,000 total. It was beautiful, meaningful, and perfect for us. But this wasn't about what Sophia and Andrew wanted. This was about what Mom wanted. The next morning, I decided to do some investigating. I called Willowbrook Estate directly and asked to speak with their events coordinator. Hi, I said. I'm calling about the Sophia Mitchell wedding scheduled for June 15th. I'm the sister of the bride and I had some questions about the final costs. Oh yes, the coordinator said warmly. We're so excited about that event. Your mother has been wonderful to work with. Can you tell me what the final venue rental cost will be? There was a pause. Well, let me pull up the contract. The venue rental is $18,000 for the Saturday evening package. I blinked. $18,000. Yes, that includes the ceremony space, reception hall, bridal suite, and standard decorations. Is there something wrong? No, I said quickly. Just double-checking. And what about catering? The catering package your mother selected comes to $15,000 for 150 guests. That's our mid-tier option. My hands started shaking. Mid-tier? Yes, she said the family wanted something nice but not too extravagant. It's a lovely menu. I thanked her and hung up, my mind racing. The venue was $18,000, not $65,000. The catering was $15,000, not $45,000. Mom had been lying about everything. I spent the rest of the day calling vendors. The photographer was $3,500, not $8,000. The flowers were $4,000, not $15,000. The band was $6,000, not $12,000. The real total cost of Sophia's wedding was approximately $52,000, not the $180,000 Mom had claimed. But here's what really made my blood boil. Mom had collected the full $26,000 from Tyler and Madison. They'd taken out a second mortgage on their house to pay it. Aunt Caroline had given her life savings of $8,000 and apologized that it wasn't more. Mom was running a scam on her own family, using Sophia's wedding as cover to steal over $100,000 from the people who loved and trusted her most. That evening, I called Sophia. Sophia, we need to talk about your wedding costs. What about them? Do you know how much this wedding is actually costing? There was silence. Then, Mom said it was expensive, but she's handling all the details. I don't really know the specifics. Sophia, she's telling the family that we each need to contribute $26,000. What? Sophia's voice was shocked. $26,000 each? That's insane. Andrew and I never agreed to that. What did you think the family was contributing? I thought maybe everyone was chipping in a few $100s to help with flowers or something. I had no idea Mom was asking for that kind of money. That's when I realized Sophia was as much a victim as the rest of us. Mom had been planning this scam for months, using Sophia's wedding as the perfect cover story. Sophia, I said carefully, I need to tell you what I found out today. I laid out all the real costs, all the lies, all the money Mom had already collected from our family members. By the end of the conversation, Sophia was crying. She's stealing from our family, Sophia whispered. She's using my wedding to steal from Aunt Caroline, from Tyler and Madison. Oh my God, what do I do? We expose her, I said, but we need to be smart about it. The next day, Sophia and I met with Andrew to plan our strategy. Andrew, who worked in financial fraud investigation, was both horrified and impressed by the scope of Mom's deception. "This is sophisticated," he said, looking at my notes. "She's created fake invoices, inflated real costs, and even added entirely fictional expenses. If she weren't stealing from family, I'd almost admire the thoroughness." "So what do we do?" Sophia asked. "We gather evidence, document everything, and then we confront her in front of the entire family," Andrew said. "But we need to be prepared for this to get ugly." Over the next week, we collected proof of everything: real invoices from vendors, bank statements showing Mom's deposits, even recordings of phone calls where vendors confirmed the actual costs. Then we planned our counterattack. I called Mom and asked for another family meeting. "I've been thinking about the wedding costs," I told her, "and I want to make sure I understand everything correctly." Mom seemed pleased. "Of course, dear. I'm so glad you're taking this seriously." We scheduled the meeting for the following Sunday. I told everyone to come: Tyler and Madison, Aunt Caroline, Sophia and Andrew, even Ryan for moral support. When Sunday arrived, Mom had her usual setup: printed invoices, her leather portfolio, and her most authoritative expression. "I'm so glad we're all here," she began. "As you know, Sophia's wedding is just 2 months away, and I need final payment confirmations from everyone." She started going through her fake numbers again. $65,000 for the venue, $45,000 for catering. That's when I interrupted. "Mom, I have a question about the venue cost." "What about it?" "Well, I spoke with Willowbrook Estate directly, and they told me the venue rental is actually $18,000, not $65,000. The room went dead silent. Mom's face didn't change, but I saw her grip tighten on her portfolio. "I don't know who you spoke with," she said carefully, "but I have the real invoice right here." "Actually," Andrew said, standing up, "we have the real invoices too." He opened his laptop and projected the screen onto Mom's dining room wall. Real vendor invoices, real costs, real evidence of her lies. The venue, $18,000. Catering, $15,000. Photography, $3,500. Flowers, $4,000. Band, $6,000. Total actual cost, $52,000. Tyler stared at the screen. "But I gave you $26,000. Madison and I took out a second mortgage." "And I gave you my life savings," Aunt Caroline whispered, looking betrayed and confused. Mom tried to maintain control. "These numbers are wrong. I negotiated premium packages, upgraded services." "No, you didn't," Sophia said, her voice shaking with anger. "I called every vendor myself this week. These are the real costs. You've been lying to everyone." That's when Mom's mask finally came off completely. "You ungrateful little brats," she snarled. "Do you have any idea what I've sacrificed for this family, what I've given up? I raised you, fed you, clothed you, and this is how you repay me?" "By stealing from us," I asked. "I wasn't stealing. I was redistributing, taking from those who have more to give those who have less." "You mean taking from everyone to give to yourself," Andrew said coldly, "because none of this extra money was going toward the wedding." Tyler stood up, his face red with anger. "Where's my money, Mom? Where's the $26,000 I gave you?" "And my $8,000, Aunt Caroline added, her voice breaking. Mom looked around the room at the faces of her family, angry, hurt, betrayed faces, and I saw her calculate whether she could still somehow talk her way out of this. She couldn't. "Fine," she said. "Fine. You want to know the truth?" "Yes, I kept some of the money. Do you know how expensive it is to maintain the lifestyle you all expect from me? The house, the car, the clothes, the country club membership?" "So you decided to steal from your own family?" Madison asked, incredulous. "I decided to collect what I was owed," Mom shouted. 30 years of putting everyone else first, of sacrificing my own dreams, of playing the perfect mother and grandmother. Well, maybe it was time I got something back." The room erupted. Tyler demanded his money back immediately. Aunt Caroline started crying. Sophia was furious that her wedding had been used as a cover for theft, but Mom wasn't done. "You know what?" she said, her voice dripping with venom. "Cancel the whole wedding. If you're going to be this ungrateful, if you're going to treat me like a criminal, then maybe Sophia doesn't deserve a beautiful wedding after all." That's when I smiled. "Actually, Mom, you can't cancel the wedding." "What do you mean I can't cancel it?" "Because," Sophia said, stepping forward, "we already transferred the vendor contracts into our names. The wedding is happening exactly as planned, for the real $52,000 cost. And," Andrew added, "we've already contacted a lawyer about recovering the money you stole from the family." Mom's face went white. "You can't. You wouldn't." "We absolutely would," I said. "Aunt Caroline's life savings, Tyler and Madison's house payment, all the money you collected under false pretenses, we want it all back." The confrontation didn't end there. Mom tried several more desperate tactics to maintain control. First, she claimed she'd already spent the money on wedding expenses we couldn't see yet. When Andrew demanded receipts, she couldn't produce any. Then she tried emotional manipulation, crying about how ungrateful we all were and how she'd only wanted to give Sophia the perfect wedding. When that didn't work, she threatened to call the police on us for harassing her. Finally, she played her last card, threatening to tell everyone in town that her own children were financially abusing her. "I'll ruin your reputations," she said. "Nobody will believe you over me." That's when Ryan, who had been quietly documenting everything on his phone, spoke up for the first time. "Actually, Patricia," he said calmly, "they'll believe us because we have evidence. Audio recordings, fake invoices, real invoices, bank records showing where the money went. We have everything." The fight was over, but the damage to our family was just beginning. The legal proceedings took 6 months. Mom had indeed been living beyond her means for years, using credit cards and loans to maintain a lifestyle she couldn't afford. She'd seen Sophia's wedding as the perfect opportunity to solve her financial problems by essentially crowdfunding her debt through family manipulation. In the end, she had to sell her house and liquidate her retirement accounts to pay back what she'd stolen. The family relationships, however, couldn't be repaired as easily. Sophia's wedding was beautiful. It took place exactly as originally planned for exactly $52,000, paid for by Sophia and Andrew with some help from the family members who actually wanted to contribute. Mom didn't attend. She'd moved to a small apartment across town and cut contact with most of the family. The few times I'd seen her since, she maintained that we'd all overreacted and that she'd been trying to help. But here's what I learned from the whole experience. When someone you trust starts making unreasonable financial demands and refuses to show you the real numbers, there's usually a reason. When someone tries to make you feel guilty for not being able to afford their vision of what you should contribute, they're manipulating you. And when someone says, "If you can't pay, find another place to sit," sometimes the best response is to find a better place to sit, somewhere far away from their manipulation and lies. Tyler and Madison were able to refinance their mortgage at a better rate and actually came out ahead financially. Aunt Caroline got her money back and decided to spend some of it on a cruise she'd always wanted to take. Sophia and Andrew have a strong marriage and a beautiful home, and they've learned to spot financial manipulation from a mile away. As for me, I learned that sometimes the most dangerous con artists are the people who claim to love you most. And I learned that standing up to family members who are hurting other family members isn't betrayal, it's protection. The aftermath also taught me about the ripple effects of financial abuse within families. Tyler and Madison's marriage had been strained by the financial pressure Mom had created. They'd been fighting about money, working extra hours, and considering moving their kids to cheaper schools. Once the truth came out and they got their money back, their relationship healed remarkably quickly. Aunt Caroline revealed that she'd been skipping medications and eating less to save money after giving Mom her life savings. The stress had been affecting her health, and she'd been too proud to tell anyone she was struggling. These weren't just financial crimes. They were attacks on our family's stability, health, and relationships. The wedding venue did cost $2,000 each in the end, but only because we chose to contribute that amount willingly, not because someone tried to scam it out of us. And that made all the difference. So what do you think? Did I go too far in exposing my mother's wedding scam, or was it the right thing to do? Let me know in the comments below, and if you want to hear more stories about the shocking secrets hiding behind closed doors, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell.